Good evening, Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. We are live from the National Emergency Operations Center at the NADMA headquarters. This is our final update for the night, and we trust that you have been following all the emergency protocols thus far. And for those of you who had to travel to the shelters, we hope you've settled in already. Joining us for this update is Prime Minister, the Honorable Dickon Mitchell, the Honorable Tevin Andrews, Minister for Carriacou and Petite Martinique Affairs, Ms. Tonya Hyacinth from Shelter Management, and Ms. Kassia Johnson, forecaster at the Met Office. So we'll take you over to Ms. Johnson at this time to give us an update on Hurricane Beryl.
Once again, as of 11 p.m., the center of Major Hurricane Beryl was located at 11.5 degrees north, 58.1 degrees west, which is about 247 miles east-southeast of Grenada. It still has maximum sustained winds of 130 miles per hour. However, it is now moving towards the west at 20 miles per hour. So this is a slight quickening of the storm as it moves towards the west. Minimum central pressure is 959 millibars. Hurricane Beryl remains a strong Category 4 hurricane and is expected to remain that as it crosses through the island chain. The effects of Hurricane Beryl has already begun affecting Barbados and Carriacou. As I saw on the radar a little while ago, they already started getting some precipitation from the hurricane. A hurricane warning remains in effect for the state of Grenada, which means that hurricane conditions are expected within the warning area within 36 hours. Now, this does not have to take 36 hours for it to reach us and to start impacting us. Models are indicating that we should feel the majority of the precipitation and winds between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. on Monday. We should feel the majority of the precipitation. We are expecting winds of 130 miles per hour with higher gusts near the center of the storm, and it's expected to extend outward 30 miles from the storm. So even in the south of the island, we can still feel the strong hurricane force winds. Rainfall is still expected to be 3 to 6 inches, in some places up to 10 inches of rainfall. Flooding and landslides are also expected, so please be cautious. Storm surge with water levels rising as high as 9 feet above the normal tide is also expected. Hurricane Beryl remains a Category 4 hurricane, which is major, and is expected to make landfall between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. on Monday. Back to you.
Thank you, Kassia, for your updates. At this time, we want to hear from Ms. Tonya Hyacinth. She is one of the managers for the shelters. So, Ms. Hyacinth, we're going to hear from you at this point.
Good evening to Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. To report that we have currently approximately 100 shelters currently in operations. We also have, in terms of occupancy, approximately 2,064 occupants occupying shelters currently. Our main request that is being received in terms of shelters are sleeping equipments, which we are in the process of trying to procure and distribute to our shelters. We do have coverage within Carriacou and Petite Martinique as well. Back to you, Presec.
Thank you, Ms. Hyacinth. We want to hear from Carriacou and Petite Martinique, and joining us this evening is the Honorable Tevin Andrews, Minister for Carriacou and Petite Martinique Affairs. Tevin, can you hear us?
Loud and clear, Presec. Thank you very much, Prime Minister, and of course to the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique, in particular Carriacou, that are listening. Of course, we are bracing ourselves for the eventualities, the fact that we are going to experience most of it based on the predictions. All our shelters are up and running. I visited all of them today, and of course, we have over 124 people in shelters in Carriacou. And of course, Carriacou is a close-knit community, so we also have the team working together to, looking at areas in the various communities where people can go together outside of the shelters. And Carriacou is known for, at least for the yachting community. We have a big yachting community here and a big boat or marina industry in Carriacou, if you want to put it that way. So number 4, sailing boats and fishing boats and so on are all secured in some of the protected areas and so on. So people are certainly taking the necessary precautions and are preparing for what is to come. From all indications, people have been listening to the advice from NADMA. The team in Carriacou has been doing a wonderful job, led by our district coordinator, Ms. Nelly Deet, and the team. As a matter of fact, I'm presently at the command center in Bel-Air in Carriacou, and we have our district coordinator and her team, the permanent secretary, police officers, and other members that are here, and we'll be staying the course here until the hurricane is over. But from all indications, we are prepared. We are prepared. So we just hope for the best, and I encourage our citizens, I encourage our people to remain safe, remain vigilant, and let's look out for each other. We will get through this together. We'll get through this together.
Thank you, Tevin. Thank you so much. At this time, we want to hear from Prime Minister, the Honorable Dickon Mitchell.
Thank you, Press Secretary, and thank you, colleagues and Member of Parliament for Carriacou and Petite Martinique for joining us on this briefing to the nation. As indicated, the latest report from the Meteorological Office at 11 p.m. tonight is predicting that Hurricane Beryl, as a Category 4, will make landfall in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. tomorrow. We anticipate, however, that the precipitation will commence before that. And so again, we want to urge all our residents, all our citizens, and visitors who are riding out the storm with us to continue to listen to NADMA for official information, to continue to listen to the Met Office for official information, and we will continue to provide you with timely and accurate information on the hurricane and the effects of the hurricane. I'm going to report that the state of emergency went into effect from 7 p.m. I'm happy to report that all of the citizens are complying with the requests to stay at home and to stay indoors or to stay in shelters. The Royal Grenada Police Force is on the roadway and they are enforcing the curfew, except for the permitted persons who are authorized to be on the road. No one else should be on the roadways at this time, and this will continue into tomorrow. In light of the fact that the predictions are indicating that we may feel the brunt of the precipitation and the wind and the storm surge during daylight hours, we believe this is a plus because it should allow us to assess what is happening much easier than if it was happening on the dark night. However, we want to re-emphasize that it is likely that we will begin to feel the impact of the hurricane during the course of this morning, even before the 8 a.m. predicted time when it may intensify. It is also important to remember that if the eye of the hurricane is passing over Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique, that there may be a temporary calm, but it does not mean that the hurricane is over, and we are urging persons, therefore, that unless NADMA or the Met Office gives an all-clear, that you continue to comply with the requirements to stay at home. At 9 p.m. tonight, NOASA would have shut off all systems except for the observatory road system, because that system feeds the General Hospital, and of course we will not do anything to impede or jeopardize having water at the hospital. And so the observatory road system remains the only NOASA system that is currently not shut off. The airport is also closed. It was closed at 6 p.m. and all government institutions are also closed same for those institutions that are providing support work to NADMA and the district coordinators and deputy coordinators and their teams who are manning and supporting the shelters. To our persons in the shelters, again, we want to thank you for heeding the warning and taking the preventative action. We appreciate that this is a difficult time for you, having to move from the comfort of your home, but we assure you we will do everything to make your stay as comfortable as possible, given the circumstances, and for as short a duration as possible. So the shelter management team will continue to receive reports and will continue to monitor things at the shelters. The Royal Grenada Police Force as well is going to be paying particular attention to the shelters to make sure that the security and safety of our citizens who are at the shelters remain paramount. I want to use the opportunity to thank the team here at NADMA and all others who are working tirelessly throughout the night. I want to emphasize that we have a all hands on deck approach, and there are several persons who are here at NADMA headquarters who are working to ensure that we can continue to monitor the situation and continue to keep the nation safe. This therefore means that they are doing so at considerable sacrifice to themselves and to members of their family. So I want to take the opportunity to thank them in advance for the tremendous work that they've been doing. I have received several calls from my counterparts in the region. I want to use the opportunity to also express my gratitude on behalf of the people of Grenada. They are all on standby, ready to support us if required, both in terms of at the political security or from a relief effort. So I again want to take the opportunity to say thank you to our partners, supporters and friends in the region and in the international community who have already begun expressing solidarity with the people of Grenada. In light of the predictions that we expect the brunt of the impact to be from around 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, we will not have a 2 a.m. Media update for the public. We would want all our citizens to use the opportunity to perhaps get some rest, to spend some time with their loved ones, and to really hunker down for what we believe would be the more difficult part of the day beginning early tomorrow morning. We will therefore aim to provide an update between 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. Subject to the weather conditions. So just indicating we will provide a public update between 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. tomorrow, subject to the weather conditions. So again, let us continue to pray, let us continue to be prepared, and let us look out for each other during this time. So thank you, have a good night, and I urge you to still get some rest in the meantime. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. It has really been a long day for all of us, and I'd like to also take the opportunity to thank all of you for joining us for all the updates. We will continue sharing information as often as we can. I would also like to place on record our gratitude to the media for assisting during this time with dissemination of information. Those of you who came in earlier today, we want to thank you very much for your assistance. We at the Emergency Operations Center, we continue to monitor Beryl, and we ask that you do everything possible to remain safe. My name is Neela Etienne, Press Secretary, and I thank you so much for joining us. Have a good night, everyone. This time with dissemination of information. Those of you who came in earlier today, we want to thank you very much for your assistance. We at the Emergency Operations Center, we continue to monitor Beryl, and we ask that you do everything possible to remain safe. My name is Neela Etienne, Press Secretary, and I thank you so much for joining us. Have a good night, everyone.